What up, everybody? Out of all Tariq's love interest throughout OG Power in Book 2, Destiny, Effie, Lauren, Diana, and Anya, the only one I ever remember him telling that he loved was Effie, as Tariq had known Effie since his choate days in high school, only for them to reconnect a few years later in college. So even though Destiny was Tariq's first, I think it's safe to say that Effie is Tariq's first love. But before Effie could tell Tariq she loved him back, a whole lot happened as Noma and Obi interrupted their date in Italy. And once they got back to the States, Tariq found out that Lauren was still alive and Effie had went behind his back to try to kill her. Then it got worse as Tariq found out that Effie had turned to Kane with this information also. So because of that, Tariq ended his relationship with Effie. But at this point, I feel like Tariq and Effie could have potentially got back together again at some point for a third time. That was until Effie hooked up with Kane Tejada. It is not that Effie got with somebody else during the time that her and Tariq weren't together, but a matter of who she hooked up with. Kane being Tariq's biggest enemy, somebody who not only tried to have him killed, but also tried to set him up for murder to go to prison for the rest of his life. So this is ultimately the biggest betrayal you can have from a lover, is for them to hook up with your enemy. And I feel like this impacts Tariq not getting back with Effie again more than her trying to set him up to get killed at the end of season 3. Because Diana tried to have Tariq killed and his mother, and he was still about to be with her. But like I said, it's about who Effie hooked up with. A difference between hooking up with Kane, Tariq's enemy, and a guy like Salim. But then if we look at Kane hooking up with Effie from Kane's perspective, it's like the ultimate disrespect to your enemy to hook up with his girl or take his girl from him. That's why Tupac's first words in the diss song, Hit 'Em Up, was, "That's why I f***ed your bitch." After that line alone, anything else he said after was irrelevant, because you can't disrespect somebody more than that. So with all that said, even though Kane is now out of the city and Tariq is back working with Effie in the business, I don't see them getting back together. I think Tariq will keep it business when it comes to Effie, even though he'll always have that place for her in his heart as his first love. Then when we're talking about first loves, DMac recently just broke things off with his first love, Genesis, in Chicago. Feeling like having her around him would put her in harm's way after what happened to JP, as DMac gave Genesis a package of money for her to go to school in Atlanta at Spelman. And DMac will probably be moving to New York along with his Uncle Tommy, and where his grandmother Kate already is. And Kate telling Tommy that DMac will always have a home with her in the finale of Force was probably a clue that DMac is going to be living with his grandma when he moves to New York. So as DMac moves to New York and has a role in Tariq and Tommy's operation, at some point DMac is gonna meet Effie. And something about Effie is that her and Genesis look enough alike that they could easily pass as sisters. I remember back in the fall of last year, whenever the Force Season 3 trailer dropped, and it showed that church clip of Tommy, Mireya, DMac, and Genesis at JP's funeral. A lot of people thought that was Effie in that clip, and not Genesis because they forgot about Genesis from season 2. But that's how much they look alike. And personally, I don't at all think it was a coincidence that the show writers casted the Genesis character to favor Effie. This is showing that Genesis is DMac's type, and because of that, moving forward, we know he would be interested in a female that favors Genesis. So when DMac gets to New York after seeing Effie for the first time, I think that once DMac finds out that her and Tariq aren't together, he's gonna try to holler at her. DMac will probably ask Tariq about her, and similar to when Kanan asked Jukebox about Aisha in Raising Kanan, Tariq will tell DMac to go for it, not want to show that he still has any type of feelings for Effie by telling DMac about their history. The reason why DMac would be comfortable to hook up with Effie after ending things with Genesis because being around him was too dangerous is the difference being that Genesis is a civilian and Effie is already in the life. But after DMac hollers at Effie and they start hooking up, Tariq is gonna feel a type of way about it, even though he's gonna try to act like it doesn't bother him. Keeping in mind that at the end of the 4th series, how Tariq was looking when DMac was talking about how even though his dad was dead, he still had Tommy to be there for him, and even calling him Uncle Tommy, like Tariq was a little jealous of DMac and Tommy's relationship. Because growing up, how close Tariq was to Tommy, and I'm reminded of how Tariq hugged Tommy the day after he was abducted by Jukebox. And Tommy used to always tell Tariq that no matter what, his Uncle Tommy would always have his back. Only for Tommy to abandon him and leave him to fend for himself. And I know this is because Tariq shot Ghost. But when we're looking at this from Tariq's perspective, Tommy had just spent the past several months telling Tariq how he was going to kill his father, and Tariq was going to be cool with it and still would consider Tommy family. So when Tommy changed his mind, Tariq handled business himself. So in his mind, he feels like there's no real reason for Tommy to have abandoned him because of him killing Ghost. Only for Tariq to get to Chicago and meet DMac and feeling like Tommy replaced him with a kid he just met. Not to mention, Tariq sees Tommy letting DMac in the game, not knowing the struggle that they had and thinking about how Tommy wouldn't teach him the game. So now, in addition to feeling like DMac practically stole his uncle from him, now DMac is going to move back to New York and hook up with Effie, and might even end up getting into a relationship with her, and also stealing Tariq's first love. So because of that, when it comes to Tariq and DMac's relationship, I think we're going to see a whole lot of fake loves when it comes to Tariq towards DMac. Tariq is outwardly going to treat DMac like family and like he has love for him, but inside he's going to hate him and be jealous of him and just waiting for the right time to make a move to take DMac off the board to where it wouldn't trace back to him so Tommy could find out. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.